Hello, this is Ebonygeek. You're always welcome to join me in expanding your knowledge base. Comments are always welcome, and please subscribe.
Hello, this is Ebonygeek45. I haven't taped anything in a while. My new setup is pretty much my old setup. Only I've added a couple key things. I don't know what I put on the last update. We'll just go through it on, So, that's my swirl tank. Of course, we know about that. That's nothing new. The picture on the side, surprisingly enough, it only costs 10 cents. Because, I believe it was $1 at the dollar store and they was having a 90% sale. So that's, just some info that didn't need to even be went through. Okay, so, but then I added this light. It got plant lamps on it, or plant bulbs on it, because of the new styrofoam setup that's sitting on top of the fish tank. That way we have our floating system. It's on top of the fish tank. That's multitasking. Great. Then, of course, we have our other lights and our piping for our plumbing, and then our grow bed. Okay. Now, the grow bed looked different, I'm pretty sure, from the last time I did document it because, well, I'll tell you why in a minute. But, well, in this grow bed is a new addition as well, but I'm pretty sure I already updated about that. Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and say why. Okay, so the grow bed looked different because some of the most mature growing plants that I had have been taken out. Those two main tomatoes that was really going crazy, and the cucumber that was growing into the lights, and a couple other smaller ones have been pulled off. Why? Because I'm working on a system that I'm going to do for the plants when they get so mature that they too big for the grow bed. And that's after they've been topped off and everything. And that is, well, I have to work it hydroponically because, well, I was having a problem with actually getting the system to work where to drain into the sump down here, right? So I figured, well, okay, I really don't have the patience right now to be trying to do watertight stuff, and it didn't work out for me, so I figured it's time to try some hydroponics. I grabbed some of the water that was going to go into the grow bed, and I filled up these 5-gallon buckets with it. Okay. And then I put the top on it, put some grow stones in it, and that is where the mature plants that was in the grow bed went. That's where they went. They catching some good sun now. They're now on the floor. I got some tomato cages to put on them. Now, this tomato cage here is a little bit shorter than this tomato cage here. It's supposed to be longer though. This tomato cage is sitting on the floor. The biggest part is on the floor, and then as it narrows up, it's actually coming up. Now the thing about this is I would have rather the narrow part be on the bottom, but the narrow part was too big to fit around the bucket. I really don't want to drill holes and then sit that metal in the water because that may not be good for the water. Maybe a lot of rust. But so I couldn't figure out a way, so I just turned it over and put it over the bucket. And so now it's sitting around the bucket. But it's giving some bracing to the plants. Okay. The 3 that's there. So I'm going to see how that's going to do. This one, this tomato cage, is actually sitting on top of it. And this is the one I'm going to aim for getting. It's actually cheaper at Menards. Unfortunately, there was only a few of them, and I'm gonna guess that's because people like them more because they was cheaper, and people may like them more because they're more flexible. You could bend them. If you really look on the bottom, you see where they had little poles sticking out. I put that in the little grooves for the 10-gallon tops, and I bent it. I bent them to fit. So our little grooves is right there on the top. That's holding this cage onto the top of the bucket pretty sturdily. And the plants just grow up it. And that's one of the plants that I got for the mature plants to get too big for the grow bed. Okay. So that's pretty much what I got on for the hydroponics and everything. The aquaponics water that's been added to the 5-gallon pails. New water is not circulating through. That's the problem. So I'm thinking as long as I change the water every week, it should be good. Another thing I want to point out for this cucumber plant is if you see those pretty little flowers there, that's how the cucumber plant grow, right? Now I want to point out something with these pretty little flowers, and I hope that I'm going to be able to do it. Okay, if you look at that little flower there that hasn't opened yet, this is from a different cucumber plant. One of the mature ones that I put into the pail system. If you look on that little stem right there, right here, you see it's skinny. There's nothing thick about that stem, right? Underneath the flower, completely underneath the flower. That tells you that's a male flower that's going to open up. Okay. I want to point out, though, that flower. Okay. If you look right here, I'm trying to get it, where my finger is, that's a thick growth under there. Right? Why? It's not skinny like the other one. Here, you can notably see the difference. It's because that's a cucumber. That's a baby cucumber right there underneath the flower. Okay? That's how cucumbers grow on this plant. Okay? So every flower you get is either a male or female. When you get these cucumbers, you're supposed to actually brush the inside of the petals or the middle. That's where the pollen is supposed to be. So this one's a male too. I believe this one's a male too. So I can actually brush in the inside of this plant, gather the pollen and brush it in the inside of this plant, and that would require one needs to pollinate that particular plant so that cucumber keep growing. Now I believe that's the way it works. I'm going to continue to brush anything that's open on anything that's not open. It's just that's the first sign I saw of an actual cucumber that's growing. Right there, that's a female flower right there. That's a male flower that hasn't opened up.
I'm Ebonygeek, and I hope that the information provided has been helpful to you. Please remember to subscribe. Happy building and happy coding.